We're going to start with a template that includes the media we need for this project, namely the picture of the Paris map. The user interface for the map tour is very simple. It consists of three components: an image, a list picker, and the activity starter. So let's begin by adding the image component. We're going to pull it over onto our viewer, and we're going to set its width to fill parent and its height to fill parent. And then we're also going to set its picture to the Paris map that's included with this template. And there we go, we have our image. The next component we're going to add is a list picker. Now, a list picker looks like a button when you put it on the viewer, and it behaves much like a button, except in this case the action that it takes is predetermined. It's going to display a list and let us pick an item from that list. So let's make the text for the list picker say choose destination, and let's make the width of the list picker fill parent and the height also fill parent. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the ActivityStarter component out of the connectivity drawer. And when we drag that onto our viewer, we'll see it drops down to the non-visible components area. Now, the ActivityStarter is a component that lets you launch or start another activity on your device, on your phone or your tablet. In this case, the activity we're going to start up is the Google Maps app. And the Google Maps app is an excellent example of an app that comes with your device that you can use from App Inventor. So we've dragged the ActivityStarter onto the viewer, and we have a few things we're going to have to copy and paste from the tutorial. So I'm going to set the action here to Android.intent.action.view, spelled exactly the way it's shown here. I'm going to set the class to com.google.android.maps.activity. And lastly, I'm going to set the package to com.google.android.apps.maps. So what we're doing here is we're telling App Inventor where to find the Google Maps app on the device, and these names are the names that that particular app uses. That completes our user interface, and now let's switch over to the blocks editor and code up the behavior for this app. So the first thing we need to do is we need to give the list picker a list. That's the only type of data we can assign to it. So I'm going to create a global variable named destinations, and I'm going to set it to a list, and my list is going to consist of three locations. So the first location is going to be the Tour Eiffel. The second location is going to be the Louvre. And the third location, so to make a third location, I need to expand my list maker block. The third location is going to be the Cathedral of Notre Dame. So given those three destinations in our list, now we're ready to set the list picker to contain those three items. We're going to do this in the initialize screen. So when this app starts up, first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the list picker so that its elements contain the list of destinations. So I'm choosing a setter block from the list picker, and I'm going to set its elements. And here in this slot I can plug in any variable, but I really want to plug in a list. The list I want to plug in is the global destinations list. Now our list picker is set up for the items we want. So now we're ready to start up our ActivityStarter. basically what we want to happen is after the list, an item is picked from the list picker, we want to start up our activity starter and tell it to start up Google Maps and to give it the location that we want to go to. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to set the activity starter's data URI. URI stands for Universal Resource Identifier. And we're going to use some special code here that Google tells us to use in order to identify one of these three locations. So we're going to use the join block, and we're going to join together two pieces of text. The first piece is going to tell Google where we want to go. We want to go to a geolocation 0, 0, question mark, Q equals, and then what follows the Q is going to be one of these three items. And the way we indicate it is it's the item that was selected from the list picker. So we're going to get the list picker's current selection. So we're constructing this URI. And then the next thing we need to do is just simply start up the activity starter. Okay. And that's it. That completes the MapTour app. So now let's test it to make sure it works properly. So I'm running the app on my phone, and let's see how the app works. So when I tap on the Choose Destination button, actually it's the list picker, I get a list. The list I set up in my global destinations variable. When I tap on Tour Eiffel, the app takes me to the Eiffel Tower in Paris. When I tap the back key, it goes back to my front screen. I can choose another destination, such as the Cathedral of Notre Dame, and Google Maps will take me to Notre Dame's cathedral. Well, that completes the MapTour tutorial. But let's review the main points that we covered here. First of all, we learned how to use a list picker. It looks like a button, but when you tap on it, you see a list of items. When you tap on one of the items, it will take action based on the item that you selected. In this case, when you tapped on an item, what happened was it started up the App Inventor ActivityStarter, which we had pre-configured so that it would start up Google Maps. By sending it the specially coded Uniform Resource Identifier, URI, that would tell Google Maps to show us on the map that exact location, such as the Eiffel Tower or the Museum of the Louvre. We'll see other examples in future tutorials about how to use these components.